Welcome to another of our GST titled Philosophy and Logic. This material is from National Open University of Nigeria. My name is Dan Asukwo, your instructor. Are you writing any of the GSTs soon, or you want to improve your knowledge on philosophy and logic? If so, let us know on the comment section so that we can help you out. If you are a noun student or from any other universities, this will be very useful for you. Please do well to share it with others as well as on your study groups. If this is your first time of coming across our videos, why not do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share for others too to benefit. Unit 3, Definitions, Part 1, 1.0, Introduction. A definition is a sine qua non tool for effective communication. We cannot avoid vagueness, ambiguity, or equivocation unless we rightly define our words or terms. It is the major means through which we understand the meaning of words. It is different from explanation, verbal definition, translation, or mere interpretation. It is true that definition contains all of them, but they are not identical. Definition is different from them in the sense that it is sharp, short, delimited, and consisting of the word to be defined. That is, the definiendum, which may be a single word, and the expression which defines the expression, that is, the definitions, which must contain more than one word. Stebbing, 1993. Although there are many types of definitions, this section introduces you to the major types of definition that are most helpful in clarifying and sharpening arguments. 2.0, Intended Learning Outcome. By the end of this unit, you will be able to apply basic philosophical definitions, lexical, theoretical, intentional, extensional, denotative, and connotative in solving philosophical challenges. 3.0, Main Content. You need to know from the outset here what definition is. Definition of a thing has been described as statement of essence of a thing. This description was given by the classical thought, and it has its origin in Aristotle's assertion that an object's essential attribute forms its essential nature. Thus, in defining such object, its essential attributes must be included. You need to know here that the classical idea of definition has led to philosophers' distinction between nominal and real essence. That is, while the name home, nominal, is meaningful and we may know it, however, we may not know the essential nature, real essence of home. Thus, the meaning of a name is distinct from the nature a thing may have in order that the name apply to it. As distinction can be drawn between nominal and real essence, philosophers over the years have also made distinctions between nominal and real definition. A nominal definition, one that explains what a word means. That is, it says what the nominal essence is. See the above example. Real definition, on the other hand, expresses the real nature of a thing. Let us ask ourselves a question here. Why do we engage ourselves with drawing this distinction here, especially about the notion of essence in definition? The reason for this is that there are certain intrinsic elements about that which is to be defined definiendum, which that which is doing the defining, definients, must capture, without which the definients will not have same meaning with the definiendum, which may lead to ambiguity and vagueness. Uduma, 2015. As stated earlier, although there are many types of definition, this section is to introduce you to the major types of definition that are most helpful in clarifying and sharpening arguments. 3.1. Major types of definitions. In most introductory logic textbooks, we can identify at least 7 major types of definitions. This section will focus only on the lexical, theoretical, intentional, and extensional definitions and denotative and connotative. 3.2. Lexical definition. A lexical definition is identical with a dictionary definition. It is the conventional or established meaning of a term. It is a definition that is usually expected from request for definition. Such definition is usually stated as simply as possible in order to convey information to the widest audience. This form of definition also reports a meaning the definiendum already has. It does not give the definiendum a new meaning. In short, a lexical definition is descriptive, reporting actual usage of the term, within speaker's usage of the term rather than prescriptive, which would be to stick within a version regarded as correct, regardless of drift in accepted meaning. We need to state here that since lexical definitions report actual usage of terms, lexical definitions may be either true or false. Uduma, 2015. If the definition the definiens conforms to, that is, give true report, how a language community uses the definiendum, this definition will be true, but it will be false if the definiens does not conform to, that is, gives false report, the meaning a particular community attaches to the definiendum. For instance, the definition of garage as a building where cars are packed is true because it reports, conforms to, how the English-speaking people use it. But the definition of garage as a place of worship is false because it does not agree to its usage in the English language. You should note that while this kind of definitions may be false or true, it still does not have anything to do with the question of whether the definiendum names any real or existent thing. Therefore, the definitions of all words with long-established usage like unicorn, as animal like a white horse with a long straight horn growing on its head, is a lexical definition, and it is true because of the definiendum, unicorn, is meant by the way the definiens uses it. 3.3. Theoretical definition. This kind of definition has been described as a special brand of stipulative and precising definitions. It is distinguished from the two by the attempt of the two establish the use of this term within the context of a broader intellectual framework. This form of definition expresses the meaning of a word based on available theories in specific discipline. Theoretical definitions is directed at developing coherent theoretical account of the subject at hand. The definition does not attempt overcoming ambiguity or to achieve precision. Rather, it focuses on formulating a theory within which a fully correct definition of important terms could be stated. This form of definitions is found in disciplines that do formulate theory, and such theories requires precise definition, and results of such theories are always accepted as correct. Scientific discipline's a good example of this definition. In this kind of discipline, the definition of term is not likely to contradict another definition based on another theory, as we may have in other non-scientific disciplines like arts and social sciences. 3.4 Intentional and extensional definitions. You cannot attain clarity about meaning unless you succeed in distinguishing between intentional and extensional definitions. According to Copy, 1978, an intentional definition is the collection of properties shared by all and only those objects in a term's extension. For instance, the intentional definition of a term like zebra refers us to a certain four-footed animal that has white and black stripes throughout the body. This is the intentional definition of zebra, because zebra as a species falls under this characterization. So only zebras as a species have the distinctiveness and universality of the definition as it applies to them. In other words, the extension of a term consists of the set of things to which the term applies, while the intension of a term consists of the properties a thing must have to be included in the term's extension. And according to Salmon Wesley, since you can specify the meaning of a word through its extension or its intention, the distinction between extensional and intentional definitions becomes very necessary in language. 1984. There are two types of extensional definitions, nonverbal or ostensive, and verbal. Ostensive definition occurs when you attempt to specify the meaning of a term by pointing to objects in its extension. For instance, if you want to teach someone the meaning of the word car, you simply need to point to a car and utter the word car. Keep in mind also that this definition does not go without some problems. For instance, there are cars with different shapes, sizes, and makes. In verbal definition, we rely on signification, that is, we use verbal definition to specify the meaning of a term. Here is an example of an enumerative verbal extensive definition. Philosopher means someone such as Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes, Kant, or Hegel. Layman, 2000. Let us first state in clear terms that intentional definitions are applicable to things that have clearly defined set of properties. It can also be applied to sets that are too large to list an extensional definition. Thus, as opposite of extensional definition, the intentional definition of a term states the necessary and enough conditions for a thing being a member of a set, that is, the set of features which are shared by everything to which it applies. For example, an intentional definition of spinster is unmarried woman. Being an unmarried woman is an essential property of something referred to as a spinster. So we can say that it is a necessary condition, as one cannot be a spinster without being an unmarried woman. It also remains enough condition that any unmarried woman is a spinster. From our discussion of both intentional and extensional meanings, we can say that they are closely connected to each other, or that they are interrelated. Most times we sometimes feel that the intention of a concept or term determines its extension that we decide whenever we encounter any new furniture, whether it belongs among the chairs by seeing whether it has the relevant features. Thus, as the intension of a general term increases by specifying with greater details those features that a thing must have for it to apply, the term's extension tends to decrease since fewer items now qualify. 3.5. Denotative and connotative definition. These two kinds of definitions suggest the possibility of the definition of a general term, which can be done in two ways. A connotative definition tries to identify the intention of a term by providing a synonymous linguistic expression or an operational procedure for determining the applicability of the term. It should be noted that it may not always be easy to come up with an alternative word or phrase that has the same meaning or to specify a concrete test for applicability. But when this works, connotative definition provides an adequate means for securing the meaning of a term. 4.0. Conclusion. Philosophical definitions are useful in solving challenges. 5.0. Summary. To get the best of this unit, you may need to replay it again. Also, drop a comment on the comment section stating the important lesson learned.